Happy New Year! I'm counting down my favorite pickups from 2022, and I can't wait to show them to you. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Tyler Nethercott, better known as Teapot, and this video is not quite powered by Market Movers, at least not to show you Market Movers itself, although I did use Market Movers to do a lot of price research into the cards that I'm about to show you today. I've got a couple stacks here of cards that I'm really excited to show off to you, and so I'm gonna get right into it. But if you are interested in Market Movers, as always, just visit marketmoversapp.com and use promo code DIVE to get your first 7 days free. It really helps the channel and it helps us out, and we greatly appreciate your support. So let's start counting them down. I'm just gonna get right into it. These are some of my favorite cards that I picked up this year, and I'm starting out here with this one. This is the 2017 Topps Stadium Club image variation, short printed. These were 1 in 72 packs, I believe, with a 50-player checklist, so roughly 1 in 3,600 packs to get a specific player. And the reason I love this card is it's my two favorite baseball players of all time, maybe, for sure, of their era, being Pujols and Miggy. When I got into baseball, it was actually kind of in my freshman year in college, really, when I started to get into it. As roommates started explaining, and I got really into Albert Pujols. Was super excited when Miggy joined the Tigers, and they had a couple of shots at championships. They had a great run, and he's obviously had an incredible career as well. So having these two guys in the same photo is really, really a special card to me. I picked this one up actually really recently. This is the most recent pickup of any of the cards that I'm gonna show off today. I really like Stadium Club. I love the image variations, and I'm working on a special little project related to that I'll be showing off in the near future on Instagram. So Miggy and Pujols, definitely one of my favorite pickups from this year. Another one that is not graded here, and this card is actually really unique. This is the Wayne Gretzky Glow Peachy. This is out of 2016 O-Peachy, and if you don't know this, O-Peachy does something that's kind of fun. I don't know if they do this every year. You hockey purists would definitely know the answer to this, but they insert these Easter egg type cards that are not on the checklist when they come out, but they're inserted super short printed into the products. This one in particular, it glows in the dark, and I think we're gonna have some footage to cut to that and show off what that looks like. But essentially all of this around Gretzky, the great one, glows. It looks really cool, very innovative card. Only one of these has been graded with PSA so far, and it got an 8. And the only other one from the set that's been graded with PSA was an Ovechkin that got an 8.5. No other cards graded. It's a relatively short checklist, maybe 10, 15 cards, I believe. And these are really hard to come by. So I had to save search for like a year, and then one day somebody from Canada listed a whole bunch of these for sale. I was bidding on a bunch of the other players, trying to honestly get a lower dollar one. And when it came down to it, I missed out on the Ovechkin. I found out I was bidding on the Ovechkin against Jeremy Lee from Sports Card Live and from Tag Grading. And I ended up just saying, I'm gonna go for this one, here's my price. And I got it right near my price threshold. So really excited to have this. Nothing too crazy or unique on the back. You can see here just sort of a plain back, but a really innovative card, and very excited to have a Gretzky card, a really cool Gretzky card in my PC. Now I've got 3 different ones here. I'm gonna make sure I'm not grabbing 4. First, these are all Bing Crosby cards, so not sports cards. I'm very into kind of older music, kind of oldie crooner music, and Bing Crosby's obviously one of the great crooners of all time. And so just these kind of iconic shots, anytime you're going back to vintage, this is something a little bit different. It's not for everyone, I understand. But this 1939 Bing Crosby, famous film star, is just sort of an iconic pose here with him with the pipe in his mouth, turning it over. Just kind of a little description on the back about his history, where he was born. It's always fun to read the backs of these old tobacco cards. Similar one here, Turf Cigarettes. You've got sort of this playful one of him looking like the yodeler from The Price is Right. He's got the cap on and doing the Emperor Waltz film stars. So this is from Turf Cigarettes, 1949. And then last but not least, probably the most kind of iconic classic Bing Crosby photo here in the tuxedo with the white bow tie, just smiling. Very cool shot. Another one that's from the Film Stars series. So really cool. These were not particularly expensive. A lot of pop culture cards have been gaining in popularity, so I was really excited to pick those ones up and have a few cool Bing Crosby cards. All right, next up, Giannis. You guys know that Giannis is my favorite active current player. I like everything about the guy. I like his sense of humor. I like that he seems to be a relatively good guy, straight-laced, playful, and obviously hardworking, incredible champion. This is from 2016 Panini Studio, one of my favorite Panini sets, limited to the 2016 year, and these were the sketch cards. These came in 1 per box, so you could get 1 player per box. They're not particularly high print run. They're not super low, but in a PSA 10, I want to say there's something like 15 or 20 of these, so they're really cool cards, just sort of like an artistic rendering of the card, but I love these designs, simple framing, and a really, really fun card. Anybody who's a Giannis collector wants to have one of those in their PC. A little bit different here. This was a big one, and not because of the player name. Glenn Milburn, not the biggest name. Anybody who's a Detroit Lions fan certainly remembers him from the 90s, but my first red PMG, my only red PMG to this point. I bought this on a PWCC auction a few months back, and this was part of another big purchase day on PWCC. We're gonna get to that card, which was a much bigger deal for me. But, you know, first one to see it in hand with that vibrant color from the original red PMG set, numbered 90 of 150 on the Glenn Milburn. So really cool to have a red PMG, albeit in a 6. We all know that a lot of those grade, you know, poorly grade lower. That's not really the issue with those. It's just about having one in the collection. Now, this card, this is kind of a quiz for any 90s geeks to know. This is one of the sets that gets misslabbed and mislabeled the most frequently. I see this, I have a saved search for this. This is the Players Club Platinum from 1995 Collector's Choice. And the funny story here is, when I was a kid collecting, none of us really knew what we were looking for when we saw this in the Beckett magazine and we saw this on the checklist and we saw it on the pack odds. None of us really knew anything about this. And the difference here is they had these Players Club inserts. The Platinum has this little balled out kind of cursive P here. You can't really see it because it's that hollow foil, and then it says Platinum underneath. There are multiple Michael Jordan cards that are just Players Club, significantly more common, labeled as Players Club Platinum on the slab and being sold on eBay as Players Club Platinum. So if you see those, you know, you can, I guess, report them to PSA or to the seller or whomever and just say, hey, this isn't really what the card is, unfortunately, for you, for anybody who buys it. But these were pretty rare. Nothing, you know, aesthetically, nothing too crazy. But this is sort of the genesis, early days of these more short printed versions of base cards. So it's a lot of nostalgia for me, and I'm a big Grant Hill collector, big Pistons guy. So you're gonna see a few different Grant Hills, including this next one. This is the Netrageous from 96 metal. It's hard to capture in the light there. I kind of can see it a little bit. Let's try, there you go, a little bit more. So the color on these can be a little bit tricky. It's actually a die cut. It's got kind of a funky die cut around it. You see Netrageous. Here he's got Jalen Rose in the photo. It says Netrageous down here, and he's going up for a nice shot. Kind of a cool, you can see it maybe a little bit better in the die cut on the background. I'll be honest, this isn't my favorite insert set from the 90s. In fact, this might be one that I like a little less than most people. Nevertheless, fairly rare insert, and one that I was excited to pick up in a PSA 10 and to add to the collection. Low population on those for sure. Okay, my boy Barry, my favorite athlete of all time, any sport, favorite athlete of all time, Barry Sanders. And I picked this up in a Kaboom PSA 9 here. I don't even know if there's any 10s, relatively low population on these from the 2020 Absolute set. You all know the Kabooms. Got the Barry for the PC, and really happy to have this one. You're gonna see another Kaboom of another player coming up soon here too. Switching gears back to Grant Hill. If the Players Club Platinums get mislabeled often, these ones might get mislabeled or overlooked even more often. This is the 96 Fleer Metal set, Precious Metal. So you can see it says Precious Metal right here. And the reason this is Precious Metal is because this area here is all this perfectly finished chrome silver color. The base cards had this sort of burned effect on the card, like burned metal, okay? These ones were the Precious Metal. These were 1 per box, 1 in 36, and the checklist is like 350 players, I think. I could be wrong about that, but it's a huge checklist if I'm not mistaken. So when you get to the player level, these are very rare. The Kobe Bryant Precious Metal sells for a premium, a real premium on this card, because there's just not very many of them. So aesthetically, you might kind of just say, well, I don't know if it looks better or worse than the base card. It's very clean. You've got that sort of embossed look on the letters. Metal's a great product, sort of this like a riveting type thing here going on. So it's an awesome card, but very, very, very low population on these Grant Hills. There's nothing on the back for these cards, to my knowledge, that indicates that they are precious metal. It's all about the front, and these things get mislabeled all the time by the different grading companies. It's a tricky one. One of my favorite insert sets from the 90s for sure, Noise Boys Grant Hill and a PSA 9. This is Skybox Thunder. Now, I had a Penny Hardaway, and believe it or not, Penny Hardaway was actually my bigger childhood PC. I still have a lot of Penny Hardaway cards too. I didn't have a ton of Grant Hill cards growing up because my friend collected Grant Hill and I wasn't going to compete with him. So he would trade me his pennies, I'd trade him my Grant Hills, and so on and so forth. I had the Penny Noise Boys. When I came back to the hobby back in 2019, I sold the Penny. I was flipping cards on eBay. I thought, you know what? I can use this, I can buy this. I was kind of just playing that game to build up a little bit of a bankroll, and I sold it on eBay. I set my price firm and put a note in it that just said, you know, not open to negotiation on this one. It's a childhood PC favorite. And I sold it, and I stayed in touch with that guy on Instagram actually, but I finally got back around to picking up a Grant Hill. I also have the Sharif Abdur-Rahim in this Noise Boys set. So it's a great set, awesome laser cut, die cut, this very cool effect on the surface of it, you know, that kind of makes it shimmer. Noise Boys is a fan favorite for just about anybody who grew up in the 90s collecting. And similarly, this one can be really tough. Let's see if we can catch it. This is the Acetate Slam Funk. These were very, very rare, maybe 1 in 360 packs. I'm probably going to catch some flack for misremembering these off the top of my head. But these were rare. Out of Skybox Premium 1998, 99 Skybox Premium. Really, really cool. That's one of the best. In my opinion, that's one of the best products overall of all time. Every single insert in that set, just about, if not everyone, is truly amazing and very diverse. The base set is absolutely gorgeous, and this has this awesome foil on it, so you can kind of see it on the back. Just this one definitely screams 90s. It's got this very shimmery kind of look on it. I have to imagine this card in particularly was a big inspiration for the Clearly Donruss set that came out from Panini in the last few years. All right, now we're switching over to the second stack. First up here is this 1947 Cummings & Son Sugar Ray Robinson. This is an 8. I believe there is one PSA 9 on the pop report of this card, Famous Fighters. Not a very well-known set, 1947. So it's, you know, it's not the 1948 Leaf, it's the 1947 Sugar Ray Robinson, and it's the little tiny guy, and it does float around a little bit in there, which can drive me a little bit crazy. But again, won the welterweight championship of the world in 46, and up to the end of 1947 had won 85 of his 86 professional contests. This colored fighter is one of the craftiest top liners in the ring today. Arguably the greatest boxer of all time. A lot of people would argue that and would say that. And he kind of came around same time that Jackie Robinson was obviously making his debut and breaking barriers. A very cool card. I picked that up at the National at Trade Night this year. Traded away a Jordan that I'd bought earlier in the day to get that card because I knew I might not see it again. All right, this is another one that is subtle. This is all about nostalgia for me. And you could be looking at this going, a 97 Fleer second year, sophomore year Kobe base card, but it's the Tiffany. Again, I think one per box, similar to the Precious Metal. I don't know what it is for me, but I'm a sucker for these kind of Tiffany platinum blue colors on cards, on lettering. You know, it can be a little bit difficult, there you go, to pick that up. But you see it up here on the Fleer logo, Traditions, Tiffany, and then it sort of has all this blue on here. You have the All Rookie from 1997 on here. And then on the back, whoops, there's a little sticker on there still, but it does say Tiffany here on the bottom. I bought this one on a best offer from our friends at Burbank Sports Cards earlier this year. They had it listed on eBay with a best offer enabled, and they took my offer. Happy to bring that one back and have that. Very low population also on those. All right, so next up, I'm sticking with Kobe, PSA 8. So not the highest grade, but a good grade for 1996 Flair Showcase. This is the row 1. Okay, the row 1. Flair, one of my favorite products of all time, by far. Super premium product from the 90s. You can see my face, wow, reflecting in that. But really cool. You got the action shot. You got his face here in the background blended with the crowd. You know, I don't know how you can go wrong with these. Flair. I don't know if I know anybody who dislikes the product, and rightfully so. simple back. You got some statistics from his time with the Lakers by the time this product came out. But this is the 96 flare. And then I do have another one from that set, but I'm gonna jump over. This is the 2014 Excalibur Kaboom Grant Hill PSA 9. Now you say, why do you have this higher on your list than Barry? If Barry's your favorite athlete, it's because these 2014 Excaliburs are very, very, very low population relative to the newer Kabooms that came out, which they have printed more of. These are really hard to come by. They almost never come up, and one became available, so I snatched it. And it's a different aesthetic. That is one thing I like about the Kabooms, is that the aesthetic has changed somewhat significantly year to year. But here he is kind of looking like a superhero, a little more cartoonish on the older designs. Awesome card, really happy to have that one. Now this was a unique one. This was sort of breaking the seal, so to speak, for me. I picked this up at the National as well, my first T206 card. And this is an SGC1. Now you know T206s, they're not cheap, especially not of good players like Christy Mathewson, fantastic pitcher. And this is the dart cap. I first became aware of this one when I started researching T206s. And this card, if you look at it, it's beautiful. It has awesome registration. It has really good centering for a T206. The corners and the edges, frankly, are not bad. There's some edge wear there, but it does have some surface defects. So why did this get a 1? I showed this to a lot of vintage experts at the show, and I showed them the front of the card and didn't show them the grade, covered it up and said, what grade do you think this is? I had people say 3.5, 4, 5, all the way up as high as 6. And the reason it doesn't have a good grade is because of this paper loss on the back, which some of these cards do have. For me, give me an SGC1 with paper loss that looks fantastic and is a fraction of the price over an SGC 3 or 4 that looks worse on the front but has a back that's intact. Like, I would much rather have this card. And that's sort of the interesting thing about the whole grading market. They have standards, they have to adhere to them. Their standards don't always jive with what people desire. And so you can kind of get this. Everybody said the same thing. Oh yeah, I'd rather have this card than a higher grade that doesn't look as good, but you pay less. So I was really excited to pick this up, negotiated a little bit for it. This is one of the 2 cards that I picked up on the show floor at the National. Right, dropping my cards on the floor. Need to get some Slab Strongs. Shout out Slab Strong. And this is another big one. Back to the Flair, back to Kobe. 1996, the Rose Zero PSA 8. This is my 3rd favorite pickup from the year. Just has this beautiful shimmer on the card that you can see here. Same thing as the Row 1, similar where you have the headshot, the action shot, but it's reversed this time. Just a stunning card, stunning lettering. Everything about it is really, really nice. And the PSA 8, that was kind of at the threshold of what I wanted to spend on this card, but this one's gonna be in the collection for a long time. I think a great long-term investment personally. We're down to 2 cards, and I'm actually just gonna say these are 1A and 1B. I don't know that I can pick because they mean very different things for different reasons. If I had to pick, I would pick one over the other. But here's the first one. I'm gonna bring it over like this actually. This was the final, in many ways, the final chase card for me. If you know my channel on Instagram, Drummond Card Collector, I got back into collecting. Drummond was the best player on the Pistons. He had been great since he was a rookie. He's a hustler, he's a fun-loving guy. He is a rebound machine, one of the greatest rebounders of all time, for sure. And it's a great photo, which I can't always say about Drummond cards. Kind of that photo shoot, but going up for the dunk. And everybody loves the 2012 gold prisms, numbered to 10. This one is numbered 2 of 10, and it's the BGS 10. There is a black label of this. If you know the 2012 set, they actually graded really well. Quality control, not an issue back then for Panini. These grade extremely well. And so many of them do get BGS 10s or even black labels in the prism set from that year. And this one was on PWCC, and I was watching it, and I was bidding on it, and I got to my final maximum bid increment, my final one. And then I was just ready to let it go, shut it down, and I got it. So this was the one that I got the same day as that PMG, Glenn Milburn red PMG. And this is a really important one because I have so many of the other one-of-ones and complete rainbows and everything for Drummond. And this one had eluded me, especially within a price range This is the most I've paid for a PC card to kind of round out that collection, and really happy to have it. Very exciting. And then the last one here, it's Kobe, and it's 1996, and it's Topps Finest, and it's a fantastic set. In fact, Finest, far more popular back then in 1996 than Topps Chrome was when it came out. A stunning product, and this card, you really couldn't go wrong. I don't remember how I came across this. I don't recall a friend of mine or anybody having this exact card, but I know I had seen it. I know I was aware of it when I was a kid, and there were obviously other players from the set, but this one, it just does everything. It's him going up for like a reverse layup. It's kind of this royalty thing. You've got the like atomic refractor look. These are very short printed. This one does have the peel on. Am I peel or no peel? Aesthetically, I'm no peel. I probably would prefer it that way, honestly, as an item in my collection, but it had the peel on it. And it does have a little bit of greening. You know, I've seen better. I've seen much, much worse. So there is some greening on the player on Kobe Bryant. But I picked this up at the National. It was my biggest purchase ever. I traded. It was a trade plus cash, and then I was able to move some other cards for cash to one of the dealers at the show. So it was sort of a consolidation, ultimately. And it's a fantastic card. You notice immediately put this sticker as not for sale, not for trade on the back of it when I was at the National, because I had it in my little case as I was moving around at trade night. And this is a special card. So these two in particular, my favorite pickups, my biggest pickups from the year for sure. I'm really excited to see what 2023 brings. It's been an awesome year. A lot of cards at, on a discount relative to where they were a year and a half ago. So in my opinion, if you're here for the cards and you enjoy collecting, definitely a time to buy. And if you believe in the value of cards long-term, specific cards anyway, again, down. Where do they go from here? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the year to come, but I'm here in the hobby, and I think many of you are too, and so are the rest of us here at Sports Card Investors. So with that, we certainly want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. Thanks again for stopping by. Make sure, if you would, leave me a comment down below and a thumbs up. Let me know which of these cards you like the most, and anything that you hadn't seen before that you might be interested in going forward. I always love to read that feedback. Thanks so much. Happy investing, happy collecting, and make sure you keep having fun.